All right, guys, it's time for an update because I've been MIA for a little bit with good reason. So, a couple of weeks ago, I broke off, I don't know, probably a third of my tooth in the back on the top. And it wasn't too bad to deal with. It was pretty sharp on my tongue. Um, anyway, I called I go to a Cherokee clinic for dentist. Called, made an appointment. They set it up for like a month later, and so I thought I would be able to live with it, which was not the case. It it ended up getting infected, and that's when the pain got real severe. It had my eardrum was throbbing, is what it felt like, and this whole right side of my face was red hot, and it was bad. Like I wasn't getting any sleep. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. I was waking up and going to sleep, waking up. So I was having it pretty rough. So I ended up going as a walk-in, not this past Friday, but the one before, I think it was. And they let me in and everything and x-rayed it and did all that stuff. And the lady said, I'm the only doctor here. It's going to have to come out. I don't have time to do it today. So she prescribed me some antibiotics because it had bad infection in there. And man, oh man, I struggled with pain for at least a week. But I got in the following Wednesday. She told me just to come in as a walk-in on the following Wednesday, so that's what I did. So I ended up going back on Wednesday. Did not give me any pain medication. She told me to use Aleve and Tylenol mixed together, like use both Tylenol and Aleve. And I can tell you when pain is that bad, like tooth pain, nothing can cut that out. You know what I mean? So I went back Wednesday. They got me in, they x-rayed it. The lady come back in there, the same doctor I talked to on the Friday before. And she said that, I hate to keep putting you off, but can you come back at 1:30? I was there at like 7:45 in the morning or something, 7:40. And the place, it takes me about, I don't know, about 40, 45 minutes to get there. And I told her, I guess I can. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do in this town. I'm not from here. And she asked me where I was from, and I told her. She goes, well, it's not too bad of a drive. And I said, well, no, but I'm not going to drive back home and then turn around and drive back at $3 a gallon gas. And she goes, hang on a minute. So she left. And a few minutes later, she come back and she goes, well, I've got another doctor that can go ahead and do it. I was like, great. So they went in and numbed it. And then she come back in and she checked it. And I could still feel it. So she had to numb it again. And if you guys have ever been to the dentist and had that needle going in to your gum, I hate that. The dentist is not my favorite place to go to anyway. The sounds and all that stuff all mixed together is like a phobia for me. So I don't go unless I'm dying. But anyway, they got it out of there. The doctor actually told me, the other doctor first, before she told me, hang on, I'll go see if another person can get me fixed up. She said it's probably going to break when they go to try to take it out. And at that point, it's going to turn into an oral surgery. So at this point, I'm scared. I'm nervous, shaking. And anyway, then she went and got the other doctor come in there and took care of it. Got it all pulled out, packed me full of gauze, sent me on my way. That's the only thing that they sent me home with was gauze. And anyway, it ended up, for the next couple days, was pretty painful. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And when I walked or talked, it felt like a vibrating feeling in there, and it would make it hurt. And when I was in the worst pain was when I would wake up from sleeping. That was like when it's worse, because I sleep with my mouth open. So I'm assuming the big deep breaths, maybe the cool air getting on there, I don't know, but it ended up getting a dry socket. Dry sockets are not fun. So I ended up just struggling through. And I still have the antibiotics, and they did tell me to keep taking them, which I've been doing. And I'm really low now. I don't have a whole lot. Spam risk. But anyway, this morning I woke up about 5 o'clock in the morning in pain again. And it's pretty bad. And it's back to vibrating again. So I don't know if there's infection back in there or not. But anyway, I don't I don't really want to drive back up there because they're not going to do anything for the pain. They're just going to fix me up with something. So I've been doing saltwater rinses. But anyway, as you can imagine, being a rear tooth, like I think that's called a molar, I don't even know, I'm not a dentist. On the top, there's a pretty big hole there, so stuff gets stuck in there after I eat. And sometimes it's very difficult to get it sloshed out of there because I can't like really swish really hard because it's still painful. But anyway, now that you have a visual and you're completely grossed out, that has been my last couple of weeks. That's still kind of ongoing right now. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get back out here and try to get back on Steve's car. I got to tell you, man, I'm so ready to get this car out of here. I'm tired of it, man. I want to work on my stuff. Anyway, I got to get this car out of here. And there's still lots of little finishing up crap to do. And the last time Steve was over here, I told him that it was probably a week or two away from getting it to be able to start it. And then I'm going to have to try to choreograph a date to get a Saturday to get him and Jim and me together to try to break the cam in because I don't want him to miss any work. And I think Jim would probably be okay with coming on a Saturday, but he told me that he does get busy sometimes, so I just have to call him in advance to let him know because he wants to bring it here when we break the cam in. So anyway, the Friday that I went to the doctor and they basically turned me away because they didn't have enough staff, Steve called me that evening and I was coiled up on the couch in the corner and he said, I'm bringing some parts over. And I said, just leave them in the truck. I don't feel like doing nothing. And I told him what was going on. And so he goes, are we still starting it tomorrow? And I was like, what? Or you still want me to come over tomorrow is what he said. So when he heard, when I said that Jim and I need to choreograph a day on a Saturday for him and me and Jim to get together. I'm assuming he took that as the following Saturday we were starting this car. And it doesn't equate anyway because I still need the brand new instrument cluster to put the instruments in the dash. I have to wire all that stuff. And I don't remember if I talked to him on the phone or texted him. I need the wiring harness directions for this that I think is at a shop on a big table that was in there. And anyway, he did bring me the mini starter Friday. That was one of the things he left in my truck and a rain gear wiper system. But anyway, you could tell he was pretty upset that we weren't starting this car Saturday, and there's no way, I'm nowhere near ready. Like, I'm still not ready. So I had trouble with the battery clamps that I was bolted to the chassis with. They're one size too big. In case you guys don't know, the made-for-you T-clamps, which is what I've always liked to use. I've got them right here. T-clamp. It's a company made for you. I'm assuming, I did a little reading online, I guess Locar has bought them out. Nobody has the red clamps in stock the size I need. I don't know if they're on back order or discontinued. I don't know what's going on. So I didn't really want to put black ones on there. So I ended up going through here, I think it was Tuesday I come out here. I didn't really feel that great, but I went ahead and got in there and was trying to make them battery clamps work on the battery cable because they're one size too big. I tried 2 different sizes of heat shrink. I went to Lowe's and got some heat shrink that's a little bit thicker. And I can't get the crap to even shrink. I don't even know if it's heat shrink. So anyway, that didn't work. So then I was like, well, I guess I could take and put black electrical tape and wrap it around and around and around and then put the clamp on. But I'd have to cut the electrical tape down because it's too wide. So it'd stick out on each side of the clamp and it'd look like hell. So in other words, I decided at the end of spending 30-45 minutes jacking with something, trying to make something work, that it was a shit show, and I just decided to go ahead and buy the black clamps that are out there. So I went ahead and bought black ones. I wanted red clamps to put on it because it's a red battery cable. So I just went and get black. It'll be just fine. But I ordered them from Summit, and I think they're going to be here today. But instead of trying to jackass around with all these, trying to modify something to make something fit that it wasn't made for, I'm going to buy the correct size clamp and put them on there and be done with it. So I have to build a bracket, which is kind of what I'm working on right now. I have to build some kind of bracket. I took the bolt out of the bell housing right here. I'm gonna do some kind of bracket that comes out to put a clamp on to hold the wires, and another one to hold the battery clamp to hold it, make sure nothing gets down on this header. So I've got some fabrication there to do, and then I got to put them clamps here and then change all the red ones out that I've got on the side of the frame down there. See, all this stuff got bolted back on. And it is very close, I will say that. It is very close. But the other problem I have is exhaust. I'm not going to start this car and break a cam in for 25 minutes at 2,000 RPM or whatever RPM it is with these little stumpy cut-off headers. For one, it's going to get the transmission line smoking hot, and it's probably going to cook the paint off the side of the frame rails because the headers just go down an angle and stop right beside the frame rails on both sides. And that one's really close to the where the oil filter goes on. So again, I need exhaust, and my original idea was maybe get some 45-degree bends, weld the collectors to the 45-degree bends, and then clamp his Cherry Bomb glass packs on there, and then figure out some kind of mount at the back to the cross member to hold it until he can drive it to an exhaust shop and have proper exhaust made for it, because I'm not building a full exhaust system on this car. So anyway, I went to O'Reilly's and went to get some 45-degree bends, and they're bulged. They have like bulge bends, and they look like hell, and you can see them. So I was like, well, mandrel would be better, and I did mention that to him when he was here. But anyway, I never have done anything with the exhaust either. But there's just this little tidbit crap that I've got to finalize first before any of that stuff can be, before we can start the car. We have to have gauges on the engine before we start it to break a cam in. It has to have the oil pressure gauge at least hooked up and the temperature gauge, because we don't want no oil pressure, and we sure don't want it to get hot. So anyway, a little bit of work to do before that is anywhere near ready to start. Now, I'm not putting the front clip on it, I mentioned that before, because I want to be able to get in there and be able to tune on it, work on it, and all that kind of stuff. There's also a problem with the oil drain plug on this oil pan. For whatever reason, it doesn't seal. And it leaked before when we put oil in his house. It left a pretty big puddle under his car after a long period of time. And when I got the engine rebuild kit, or from Jim, what was left of the gaskets, I used the nylon gasket for the drain plug and put it on there, and it doesn't fix it. It still leaks. So I'm going to have to try to find some kind of rubber, maybe a rubber impregnated metal one or something. I've got something similar on my 55, and I can't remember what brand it is, and I don't remember where I got it. So that kind of sucks. So I've got to figure out, I'm probably going to have to jack my car up and get in there and have a look at it, because I don't even remember what it looks like. But anyway, it fixed my oil leak, because I had a similar oil leak. That needs to be done before I put all the oil in the car again, because Jim had put just a couple of quarts in it to pre-lube the lifters and everything when he pumped it up before, when he built it at his house. So anyway, which that oil's coming out. I have Comp Cams oil with zinc additive to put in there. It's the break-in oil from Comp that'll go in here, so that's what it's going to have when we start it. So it'll have all its crap for flat tappet camshaft stuff. But that's where I'm at, guys. It's not been fun. And then to top it all off, a girl that I've known since 1980, her family lived right up the street from us. She was married to my oldest brother for a brief period of time. She fell off a ladder or a balcony painting a house and landed on her head, and it killed her. So I had to go to her service yesterday. So it's been a rough couple of weeks, man, and you know, it just, that's the way it goes sometimes. But sometimes it seems like things come in droves, and it just goes on and on and on and on. But that's the deal. I'm going to get back to work on Steve's car and maybe get some work done. I wanted to see how far I can get today and get the clamps on and all that kind of stuff. Get in there and see what kind of rubber drain plug seal I've got on my oil pan, and maybe see if I can go down to O'Reilly's and see if I can get one. The only thing they had on the shelf down there for Dorman was nylon blue ones. I've already tried nylon. It doesn't work. I need something that's rubber impregnated. So I just don't remember what brand that one is that I got on my car. So always fun to jack up my car because it's really low, and I have to put a pad down there to jack it up so I don't chip the paint up on it. Anyway, you guys have heard enough. Thanks for watching.